up to all my grown folks out there? It's your host B, back with a really good one. I really enjoyed this clip. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to try not to interrupt and just save my commentary for the end. The video is almost 5 minutes. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You really don't want to go through it with the wedding?
No, not no courthouse wedding. No, I don't. Not getting married.
Because you just want to you just want to do it for the gram. Like you just want to show off
for the gram. I
for
want to
social
do it for
media.
Me. We supposed to be getting married at a venue. I already told you that's what I want. Big wedding, big dress, big venue, everything blinged out. You already know what I want.
Because you just want to flex on your little cousins and your peers. I thought we was doing this for us though.
We are doing it for us, but we can do it how I said I want it done. If we can't do it how I said I want it done, then we don't have to do it at all. I'm not getting married at no courthouse. What do I look like getting married at a courthouse? Like that don't even sound right. That's not even a wedding. Like you being mad cheap right now and mad weird for no reason.
I'm being cheap, but you want a whole cruise right now.
Okay,
you ain't had to pay a dollar.
Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. I'm used to dealing with people with money who are able to get me whatever I need, whenever I want it, however I want it. You broke, say that. If you broke, just say that, because you being mad cheap and it's mad weird. So that's what I'm used to. You know what I'm used to. You know what I come from. So
I'm saying, but you know, it ain't never been nothing broke about me. Anything you ask for,
you acting like it.
Anything you ask for, you get. You know what I'm saying?
Everything
this is the one thing.
Nah, that's not what I'm used to. So give me exactly what I'm asking for, and there's no problems.
So what am I? Is this supposed to be like some sugar daddy type situation, or you want me to be your husband?
If that's what you want to call it, if you want to call it a sugar daddy because it makes you feel
I don't want to.
If it makes you feel better saying sugar daddy, then say that. But
I mean, that's what you're putting me in the mind of.
I'm not putting you in the category as being a sugar daddy. I'm just telling you what I'm used to.
Now,
you know what I come from.
You feel crazy.
You know what
sound
I'm used
crazy.
To, so I don't care how it sounds.
You're putting these crazy stipulation on our wedding because
it could be that.
Like how you sound.
Are you broke? Can you afford it? Can you afford it?
Is the ocean wet?
Okay, then. So what are you complaining about?
What you mean? Can I afford it?
Get it done then.
Make me want to get it done. Like
no, it's not. Obviously made you want to get it done if you want to marry me. So.
All right, but then as soon as the marriage drop, right? What you gonna ask for?
Whatever I see that I want.
You gonna say you want a big behind house, right?
Right.
You gonna say you want another car, right?
Right.
That's just.
And I expect you to get it.
I mean.
Okay.
I don't know. We're not seeing eye to eye on this. Like
at this point, then if we're not seeing eye to eye, I don't think it's gonna work then. Because that's just what it's gonna be.
Maybe you should work.
I don't need to work.
That might help. Like
I don't need to work. That's the purpose of being in a relationship.
Because you want a sponsor.
No.
Like you don't want to.
I want a man who makes sure I get what I want
you
when
want,
I want it.
You want a sugar daddy. That's what you want.
If that's what you want to call it. I want a provider. That's what I call it.
So, you being out here on bringing her to the Bahamas, 7 days, bought all her whole wardrobe, paid for everything,
that's
drinks and all that.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's not being a provider.
That's your job.
Most girls out there getting Applebee's.
Okay.
And you still being ungrateful.
You see what I want.
All right, so let's say in an event I couldn't afford no wedding like that.
Then we wouldn't be getting married.
So that's what it's about.
That's
then.
Exactly
it's about the money.
It's not about the money. It's about what I want, and what I want is.
But I thought what you wanted was me, though. I thought we was doing this for our love.
We can do that for love. That's
See,
nice.
I just want to live like a normal, little, nice, little, happy, quiet life. But she want to be all festive.
Yes, because I'm a festive person.
And try to keep up with the Joneses. Like that's not what it's about.
I don't even know the Joneses. I'm a festive person, and I like to have the best, and I deserve the best. And that's what you said you was going to give me.
That social media stuff got your head.
Words, stop being cheap.
That social media stuff got your head messed up.
I'm not getting married at no courthouse.
There's nothing cheap about me, but I'm just saying.
That's like a joke right now.
We could be using those expenses for other stuff.
Okay, you can make more money for other stuff after we get my wedding that I want. So don't ask me to marry you. Don't ask me to marry you at no courthouse. That don't even sound right.
So do you want to marry me or you want to marry my wife?
I want to marry at the venue that I picked out, and that's that. Like, there's nothing else really to talk about. You can give me what I want and don't give me nothing at all. You can marry somebody else at a courthouse. I'm not taking that from you. If you want to get married at a courthouse so bad because that's important to you, you can do it with somebody else.
It ain't. It's just why spend all the extra money for the
because
same?
That's what I want. That's what I want, and that's what I'm gonna have.
Right, so maybe further on down the line, maybe that could happen.
Do it right the first time, and you don't gotta do it again. Do it right the first time. You don't have to do it again. If you want to get married at a courthouse, go do that with somebody else. Be cheap with somebody else. But if you want to be with me, you already know. I already said my
And
piece.
this
I'm going in.
Okay, so that was a very interesting back and forth, right? All right, so let's first I want to start off with fancy weddings. I know all of y'all balling. You know, I'm a regular average, middle class person. So to me, for me, these big expensive weddings are not necessary, obviously. But if you got it like that, you got it like that. Or like some people I know, they charged it to their credit cards and paid it off. I know people who have, paid thousands for dresses, venues. Like me, I'm biased because I'm gonna tell you now. I did a straight up courthouse wedding. And I'm not ashamed to tell you that I had a courthouse wedding. I'm talking about jeans and flip flops, courthouse wedding. Me and my husband only. And we've been married almost 20 years also. And a lot of people are kind of saying that, like, courthouse weddings last. I don't know. I don't have any other courthouse wedding to compare it to. I've just seen that on social media. But anyway, no shade to you if you had a traditional wedding and you paid the money, blah, blah, blah. That's you, of course. The point is people going into debt, people being vain, so high maintenance, want to show off and throw things in other people's faces. And now I'm about to bring it closer to home. Our culture has a tendency to want to flex on poor people. If you can afford a wedding, if you can afford some Jordans, you want to do that, and then you want all these people who can't afford this stuff to see you in it, to come. And this is spoken by the fiance himself, right? Let's talk about how she was so quick to be like, if it ain't at this big venue, I don't even want it. How she's so quick to just like throw the whole everything away. I felt like he was kind of, well, maybe because according to him, they're on a 7-day cruise right now and he couldn't just get away from her. But to me, she was just so nonchalant, like, whatever. If we ain't doing it this way, I don't want to do it. She sounded like she had a New York accent. The way she was talking, she sounded very New York. But anyway, the high maintenance woman. Now, in case you can't tell, I'm not a high maintenance woman, right? I'm what you would call a plain Jane. That's where I feel comfortable, and that's me. But I don't knock other chicks for being high maintenance, for getting their hair done every 2 weeks, nails done. Like, I know that's a thing. And to me personally, if your man is gonna finance that for you, beautiful. If he can't or he won't, you should be able to finance those things for yourself. So in this case, there's no speak of he asked her about working. She said she don't need to work. That's what she in a relationship for. And that type of verbiage is a turnoff for men. Now, I'm not saying that it's not realistic. It happens, just to keep it real. I haven't been working for a few months now. My husband taking care of me. But again, we've been together 20 years and that changes, right? I've worked over the years. I haven't worked at times. I've probably been off work a year and a half the most in the 20 years. So, but we established that. We have history. We have that loyalty and that dedication there. So everybody's dynamic is different is my point. If your man don't want you to work, cool. But you have to be more realistic with the finances because there's just that income. You're not bringing any finances. So, and even if you do have finances, I want to say this. I paid to get my own hair done, nails done, shopping and things like that when I worked. I didn't put that pressure and burden on my husband. Now, old boy to me kind of flexed when he said, is the ocean wet? As far as him having the money and him being broke. So he obviously got some kind of finances. He's taking you on this cruise, but he just doesn't want to spend it. And I get that. There's times where I'm like, I have money to do something. I just don't want to do it. I just want to hold on to the money. And that's perfectly okay. But I just think that sis is coming across vain. A sense of entitlement. Basically, like, I'm high maintenance. You knew that when you met me, and it's your job to upkeep that. And a lot of men ain't feeling that. They feel like
She belongs to the streets.
and a lot of people ish on courthouse weddings. So let's talk about that. A lot of people feel like, you need to have a place, a church, a venue, these decorations. People need to come out, see you, walk in your white, this and that. And like I said earlier, to each his own when it comes to that. But I just think that it's crazy. And he mentioned that. He's like, what about after the wedding? Of course you're going to want a house. Of course, you're going to want to probably upgrade your car. You're not working. Children will probably come pretty quickly, just depending. So it's like, why spend all this money for this one day, probably going into a weekend because a honeymoon or whatever, and then you still have to live after that? And I've always thought more logical with stuff like that. Like when me and my husband were looking into a wedding and we start looking into the venue, the kitchen area, feeding people and getting the clothes for us. We got married before we had a child born into the world. But we were just thinking about, like the wedding party and all that stuff, the rings. And we were like, at the time, we didn't even have our own place. So we were like, what's most important? Getting our own place. So we chose getting our own place, which was a no-brainer, I would think.
And you know this, man.
So instead of tricking off a lot of money on a wedding just to show people, we just went to the jewelry store. We got bands. Like when I first got married, we just had bands, just plain gold bands. And then we upgraded later. Like we were trying to establish ourselves because we were young, right? I was like 19, 20 when I first got married. So we just knew that we didn't want to go into debt. We didn't want to be those people who spent all this money for this day and then we had the struggle. We were young in our careers. We didn't have it like that. Can I keep it real and say we just didn't have it like that? We couldn't have did both. We couldn't have got our own place, furnished it, got on our feet, and paid for a wedding. And a lot of people, I just think they have this type of brainwashed mentality that you have to do things a certain way, or you have to do these things because that's what people expect, or you're caught up in the Joneses, like he said. You want to flash and flex for other people and other people to feel like you got it. And that's just so not necessary. And that pressure is not put on other cultures as much as we put that culture on that pressure on ourselves within our culture. Like I said, the courthouse to get the paperwork and everything was literally like less than $100. And then the rings, the bands we got at the time were probably like $50 or something like that. So we got legally married for, let's just round it up and say $200. And we're still married. Out of all the people that I knew that were married, I don't know nobody who's been married longer than me and my husband, like that I know personally. No one. So especially like in our family. So it just speaks volumes. But again, I'm not saying if you go cash out on a wedding, if you got it, then of course you do it. But in this case, this man is saying like, who do you love? What do you love? Me or a fancy wedding? And a lot of women get caught up in that. And I'm so glad that I didn't get caught up in that. And just to keep it real, I would have loved a traditional wedding. Me and my husband have talked about like doing a vow renewal and maybe, doing something like that. But it's just like, there's so many other things, and I don't want the stress of trying to plan a wedding and cleaning up after people and all of that. So we say it every year for our anniversary, but we never do it. But I just thought this was very interesting just to see how some people's mentality can be and how some people do not care about what their spouse got to say. Like,
Nope.
she don't care at all that this man is like, I don't want to do it that way. I know that's what we said, but I changed my mind because he's thinking, what about the house? What about the other things you're going to want to upgrade your vehicle? What about everything else after the wedding day? And she like, no, I told you what I wanted and you need to make that happen no matter what. And I just feel like, me personally, I am very sympathetic towards our men, and I know they have a lot of pressure on them, and I don't want to add to it. There was a time when I was younger that I was that person, and I'm like, as you get older and you mature, you're like, you don't want to add that kind of pressure onto your man. If your man like, look, and what's up with everybody shitting on Applebee's nowadays? I'm hearing this so much, and don't get me wrong, I'm not like a fan of Applebee's. I'm not gonna wake up and say I got a taste for Applebee's, but the way people just like try to belittle stuff like that's beneath them, I just think that's ridiculous. We've all been to fine dining, upscale restaurants, and that's a nice experience. But sometimes you just go get you a margarita from Applebee's and some onion rings and call it a day. I don't know why people want to try to act like everybody's so bougie all of a sudden. Everybody's so rich. Everybody on the internet is rich. Everybody's balling. Everybody makes 100K or more. And it's just starting to just be a turn off. But Anyway, comment. I'm gonna end the video here. Comment. Let me know if you've seen this. Let me know if you've dealt with a person like this who just has zero regard to the future and to stable finances and just want to trick off money, just want to like try to be so entitled, so materialistic. People who are just label whores, who just like everything is vanity's sake. They don't care about the future. They don't care about cutting you some slack, taking pressure off of you. Everything is just a demand. Give me, give me, give me. And that's a turn off to men. And that kind of makes them look for women who are more simplistic. And not saying that makes you lazy. That doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you broke. It just makes you the type of man who's like, I don't want all that pressure on me. I got enough pressure when I walk out of my house wrapped in melanin, right? So why add more pressure onto your man to provide all of this upscale lifestyle when you know you can be content? You can be content with an Applebee's, if you will. So anyway, y'all, this has been another episode of Grown Folk Talk. I'm gonna get out of here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for the love and support on the road to 10K subs. I can't do it without you. So you already know what I need you to do. Hit the button. Peace out.